Coming up on First at 5, a somber anniversary of a life a family says was taken too soon. How loved ones of a murdered Ocala mother plan to keep her memory alive.
And a local educator is facing sex crime charges. Why investigators believe his troubles are far from over.
And a local deputy credited with helping save the life of a young girl. Why health officials say she might not have survived without him. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
It's been 1 year since an Ocala woman was shot and killed by her neighbor. The shooting sparked a nationwide discussion of racism. This is First at 5. I'm Natasha Holt.
And I'm Bianca Smith. Audrika Owens was shot through a front door and left behind 4 children now being raised by their grandmother. She says it's been a tough year.
My faith is the only thing that has brought me this far.
It's been a long year for Pamela Dice. Her daughter, Audrika Owens, was killed last summer by her neighbor, Susan Lorenz. Since then, Pamela has followed her case every step of the way.
Every time I step into that courthouse, it is ripping off the Band-Aid. I come face to face with the person who took away my daughter.
The loss is also felt by Owens' 4 kids, Titus, Africa, Israel, and Isaac.
It's hard to be in a situation that I'm raising my grandchildren because of the fact that she was murdered.
Dias says it's been a long year of milestones, birthdays,
I can taste the bread.
and holidays.
Oh my gosh, Grandma, you're the best. Thank you so much.
It's not the same. It's not the same. And then we reminisce about previous birthdays and holidays.
The Marion County Sheriff's Office charged Lorenz with manslaughter last summer. Deputies say an argument over kids playing near Lorenz's house led to Owens walking across the street to confront her neighbor. It ultimately ended up in Lorenz shooting Owens through a front door.
She shot an unarmed mother with her son standing next to her.
In court, Lorenz has pled not guilty, with her trial set to begin this summer.
She shows no remorse, a lot of entitlement and gall, and it's really quite sickening.
Dice now focuses on this trial, hoping for justice and for the best future possible for these 4 kids, now growing up without their mother.
I worry for these children and their future, having lost so much at a young age. What do you say to someone who did that to them? I have no words for her.
Jury selection for Lorenz's trial is set to begin June 17th. Owens' family held a celebration of life commemoration on Sunday.
The Gators softball and baseball teams are battling out on the diamond right now, fighting for a chance to play another day. The opposing teams weren't the only ones they're up against. Severe weather delayed softball team's start time against Oklahoma Sooners by 90 minutes. First pitch was pushed back to just after 3 this afternoon, and the Gators haven't looked back since the start. They went up 4-0 behind a pair of early home runs. Oklahoma was working to dig out of a hole, but in the last 30 minutes, the Gators hit another home run with 2 runners on that, now has the team up 7-3. They have to beat Oklahoma twice to make it through to the next round of the Women's College World Series. The baseball team also put up a pair of early runs in the Stillwater Regional against Oklahoma State and just added on another in the 4th inning. The last check, the team was in the top of 6 and the Oklahoma State just brought a run in. WUFT sports anchor Jordyn Banks is monitoring both games and will have the latest scores and highlights of both games coming up in sports.
While severe weather threatens the Gators in Oklahoma, it's a different story here in Gainesville. We're getting a brief break from the heat, and it was cloudy for most of the day. And now you're taking a live look at Paynes Prairie from our DOT camera. You can see how it's shaped up to be a beautiful day, but the sunshine is expected to return. Let's get right on over to the UF forecaster Desiree Waters with more on the hot week ahead.
Let's first start off in talking about how in Oklahoma, those showers that we see here that almost disrupted the game that had to push back. And if we're going to zoom out now, and we can see some of those showers are still in the southeast over here, and they're moving down towards us in Florida. We're going to zoom in a little bit and see what's happening here. We have some showers coming in the west coast, coming into Gainesville. And as you can see, we are going to be in the 90s, and Ocala is going to be 89. And then when we get back, we're going to talk about the foggy weather that can be tonight, pop-up storms this week, and warmer weather is to come.
FDLE is now investigating an officer-involved shooting in Gainesville. GPD says Saturday night they got a call of a disturbance in the area of Northwest 21st Place. Officers say they encountered the suspect armed with a hedge trimmer. Investigators say after unsuccessful de-escalation attempts, the subject lunged toward them and an officer shot him. He was taken to the hospital where he is listed as stable. Once released, he will face aggravated assault of an officer charges. No officers were hurt.
The Ocala Police Department is asking victims of suspected sexual misconduct by a high school dean to come forward. The Ocala Police Department has arrested 42-year-old Gregory Ramputi for sexual offenses against students while a dean at Vanguard High School. Authorities say the alleged sexual misconduct occurred over several years both on and off school campus while he was in a position of authority over the victims. After one of the students reported him to a school resource officer, 4 more students came forward with similar stories of misconduct. An Ocala detective investigated the allegations and developed probable cause for an arrest. Ramputi is facing a slew of charges, including multiple counts of unlawful sexual activity, traveling to meet a minor, and possessions of child pornography.
Police in Ocala are working to learn what caused a car and motorcycle to collide, killing the motorcyclist. The crash happened just before 2 a.m. Sunday morning at the intersection of State Road 200 and Southwest 17th Street. Investigators say the motorcyclist struck the front right corner of the car and was pronounced dead at the scene. The 18-year-old Dunellen man riding the motorcycle was wearing a helmet. The Audi driver was taken to the hospital, and police say he had no signs of impairment.
The Suwannee County Sheriff's Office is warning residents to be aware of an increase of cryptocurrency scams in the community. The Sheriff's Office says these scams have led to significant financial losses for people. They say the scammers are using various tactics like fraudulent investment schemes, fake crypto exchanges, and phishing emails. Scams like this often promise high reward with minimal risk, which lures in victims into transferring funds and providing sensitive information. Deputies are urging people to research thoroughly and protect your personal information.
Community members are honoring an Alachua County Sheriff's deputy after they say he saved their daughter's life. The parents of a girl rescued by Deputy Jeff Finch took to social media to recognize and praise his efforts. First responders were called when Charlie began drowning during a private swim lesson at her home. But Deputy Finch beat the ambulance there and immediately took over CPR from the swim instructor. Charlie's parents say he applied an AED and rendered aid with urgency and composure until paramedics arrived. After spending the night in the pediatric ICU, Charlie was discharged from the hospital, but her medical team said that Deputy Finch was likely the reason she survived.
Coming up next, new polls show how voters feel about former President Donald Trump's conviction and if they will change their votes come November.
And there's relief at the pump for Florida drivers, what the Auto Club AAA says is behind the drop in gas prices. All that and more when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Just days after the historic guilty verdict against former President Trump, the sitting president's son now faces his own trial. Hunter Biden is fighting felony charges tied to gun possession while using narcotics. As Bree Jackson reports, Biden has pleaded not guilty to the charges.
For the first time in U.S. history, the child of a sitting U.S. president is heading to trial. Hunter Biden is accused of making false statements when purchasing a gun by checking a box that claimed he was not an active drug user.
It's a federal offense punishable by up to 10 years in prison for somebody to lie on a false form.
The prosecution could call a range of witnesses, including Hunter's ex-wife and the widow of his brother Beau, whom Hunter had a relationship with. The president's sole surviving son has pleaded not guilty. He's been open about his struggles with substance abuse and claims he was not using drugs at the time. His family stands firmly behind him. First Lady Jill Biden spending parts of her birthday inside the courtroom.
You know, I love my son, and it's hurt my grandchildren, and that's what I'm so concerned about, that it's affecting their lives as well.
President Biden releasing this statement, saying, "As the president, I don't and won't comment on pending federal cases. But as a dad, I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength." The president juggling family challenges and a heated political battle.
Hunter is not running for president of the United States. Joe Biden is, and Donald Trump is. And I think that when you measure their character, wisdom, and judgment, you understand very clearly that Donald Trump is a danger to our democracy.
Hunter's legal fight comes on the heels of former President Trump's conviction on 34 felony counts related to his New York hush money case. Criminal courts taking center stage in the 2024 presidential race. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The Florida deputy who shot and killed a black airman in early May is now out of a job. Reports say the deputy opened fire at the airman, Roger Fortson, outside of his apartment, while the airman was holding a handgun pointed down at the ground. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department said the deputy's life was never in danger and he should have not fired his weapon. The sheriff's office in a statement said the investigation found that, quote, Mr. Fortson did not make any hostile attacking movements, and therefore the former deputy's use of deadly force was not objectively reasonable.
It's a good day to be a Floridian because gas prices are dropping, and experts say this could continue throughout the next few weeks. Gas prices dropped in Florida just after Memorial Day weekend because of the tepid demand, according to the AAA Auto Club. The average price of a gallon of regular unleaded in Florida is $3.44, down 20 cents from just a month earlier. The cheapest gas can be found in the Panhandle. The most expensive fuel is sold in West Palm Beach. AAA spokesperson Mark Jenkins says recent prices suggest that the state average could move lower this week.
Gas prices have been fluctuating a lot through the past few weeks, and we would expect that trend to continue through the summer. Based on the way gas prices have been,
the price of crude oil has dropped 14% over the past 2 weeks. OPEC Plus nations on Sunday agreed to extend production cuts into 2025 to try to prop up oil prices.
Taking a look at our campus camera, we can see here in the west we have some rain coming in, and what that means for us here in Gainesville, and also with our 7 miles per hour winds, what also that means. We're going to take a look at that next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
As you can see here, we have our camera on McIntosh, and you can see Orange Lake out there in the back with some fluffy clouds. We're going to see what that means here for us. We are tracking the storms. As you can see here on the west coast of Florida, we got some storms down here in Chiefland and Cross City, also down here in Denellen and up in Perry as well. We're going to be expecting muggy and humid weather just about all week, and a rain chance all the way up into the 60% chances of rain our entire week here in Gainesville. Our temperatures are going to be in the 80s, and also in Ocala it's going to be 80s, but down in the villages we're going to get up into the 90s. Over here on the East Coast in St. Augustine we're going to get to the 84s, a little bit lower 80s. As you can see here, our 24-hour difference, about 9 degrees hotter between yesterday and today. Getting all the way up into our heat index of 89 degrees here in Gainesville and 91 degrees in Ocala. As you can see, our hour by hour today, we're going to be muggy with a possible chance of rain and getting all the way down into the 60s. Tuesday morning, we're going to stay in the 60s, in the 69 here in Gainesville and our surrounding areas as well. Tomorrow, we're going to look at some possible fog in the morning, partly cloudy, and then also some afternoon showers in the afternoon. Looking ahead, you can see our future track. And then we're going to move into the weekend where you can see that we're going to get all the way up to the 99 degrees by Sunday afternoon. And then now we have our 7-day outlook. As you can see, we're going to get all the way up into 100 degrees by next Monday with possible showers every day this week, all the way up into the 90s and going up all the way into 100 degrees.
Coming up in sports, Gators baseball and softball are live in Oklahoma. The boys in the NCAA Regional Finals and the girls in the College World Series. Stay with us for all details.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Happy Monday, I'm Jordyn Banks. Here's what's happening in sports. There have been a few weather delays with Gators softball at the College World Series, but they're finally underway as Florida takes on the number 2 Oklahoma Sooners. The Gators have to beat the Sooners twice to advance to the finals. With a run by Corby Otis and Kendra Falby with an amazing hit and run, bringing the Gators to a 2-0 lead against the Sooners. At last check, Florida is in the lead, 9-3 at the bottom of the 6th inning. Scores are updated live on ESPN. Meanwhile, Florida baseball playing an hour away in the NCAA Regionals in Stillwater and a win-or-go-home regional final against number 12 Oklahoma State Cowboys. Florida had an amazing 2-0 lead with Jack Caglon and Ashton Wilson putting scores on the board. At last check, the Gators are up 2 against the Cowboys at the bottom of the 6th inning. Scores are updated live on ESPN. Former Gators football athletes Brad Culpepper and Alex Brown are being nominated to be part of the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame class. Culpepper played at Florida 1988 through 1991 as a defensive tackle, while Brown played under Coach Steve Spurrier from 1998 to 2001 as a defensive end. Also, former Gators head coach Urban Meyer nominated as well. Meyer won 3 NCAA national championships, 2 of them with the Gators in 2006 and 2008. In the NFL, ESPN is reporting that Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson signs a 4-year, $140 million contract with the team. With $110 million guaranteed, he becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Jefferson in 2023 regular season had 68 receptions for 1,074 yards with the Vikings. Sticking with the NFL with some sad news, Dallas Cowboys Hall of Famer Larry Allen suddenly dies at age 52. Allen was a 1-time Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 30 with the Cowboys, an 11-time Pro Bowler. No further details surrounding his death have been revealed. Wrapping up on the ice, the Florida Panthers advanced this past weekend to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Panthers play Edmonton Oilers in Game 1 of the finals this Saturday.
Well, I can't ice skate, let alone play hockey.
I can't ice skate either, but I have great respect for those who can shred it on the ice. I think I'm Gretzky on the ice, so.
So what I'm hearing is we're all going ice skating tonight.
No, I think we should check the ice skates and just go swimming this weekend. And now we have our 7-day outlook once more. As you can see, we're going to be up into the 90s with some afternoon showers. And then all the way up on Monday, we're going to get all the way up to 103 degrees.
Well, that's it for your. Thank you for joining us. We're here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and all our social media platforms. Have a wonderful night.